When you hear that sound, you know what time of day it is. Time for your favorite program, Jamaica Magazine. On the show, we explain how annual inflation is measured, highlight developments taking place in St. Thomas, and the work of Jamaica Aid Support for Life. I am Adrian Atkinson. Welcome.
Season's greetings to my fellow Jamaicans. This Christmas, let us celebrate in true Jamaican style and commit to safer roads. Last year, we lost over 480 lives in road accidents. This holiday season, let us do our best to stay below that number. Drive responsibly, slow down, avoid distractions, and never ever drink and drive. Buckle up, especially the children, and always watch out for pedestrians. The holidays are a time for joy, not sorrow. Let's ensure everyone arrives safely. From all of us at the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, have a safe and happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. God bless you all.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, December 12, 2024. In a landmark move, government has brought the legislation to Parliament to abolish the constitutional monarchy and transition Jamaica to a republic. Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou-Fort tabled the Constitution Amendment Republic Act 2024 in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
The tabling of the bill marks the greatest progress made so far in our effort to reform the Constitution of Jamaica to achieve the national goals of having a Jamaican as head of state instead of the hereditary British monarch, and also having our supreme law taken out from under the cloak of the Imperial Order in Council and placed in proper form.
The bill will provide comprehensive provisions for the office of the President of Jamaica as a republic, including qualifications to hold the office, procedures for appointment, tenure of the office and removal from office, as well as immunity and oath of office.
We will see a clearer mechanism to alter the Constitution, a revised Section 49. Madam Speaker, also of importance is the entrenchment of the Electoral Commission in the Constitution, honoring the commitment made when the Interim Act was passed in 2006. These are among long-standing national goals being pursued in this bill.
The legislation will also facilitate the inclusion of the country's national symbols in the Constitution, namely the national emblem, flag, anthem, the national tree, national flower, national fruit, and the national bird, along with the motto, pledge, national song lyrics and music, and the national prayer. The bill is to be reviewed by a joint select committee of Parliament. It will sit on the table of Parliament for 3 months before the debate starts in the House of Representatives and later the Senate. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has delivered 36 housing units to residents of St. Paul's Lane in the community of Tower Hill, St. Andrew. The $350 million project was initially set to construct 24 housing solutions, but another 12 were later added. Prime Minister Holness, who is also Member of Parliament for the West Central St. Andrew constituency, delivered the units on Wednesday.
The people who will occupy these homes, I am sure, will find them to be far more comfortable than the homes that they were occupying before. We want to do this for every single inner city community in Jamaica. This is my wish and this is my vision, and we have proven that it can be done.
The Prime Minister says other developments planned for the community include a zinc fence removal project set to begin soon, while homes in dilapidated conditions will benefit from the new social housing program. He also used the occasion to announce that the National Housing Trust, Housing Agency of Jamaica, and the Jamaica Social Investment Fund will be tasked to develop an urban renewal program that will be deployed to needed communities across the island. The allocation for this project is to be announced in the next budget. Cabinet has approved the $2 billion expenditure announced by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness recently to undertake immediate emergency road works. Minister with responsibility for works, Robert Morgan, says the allocation was approved on Monday, and it is expected that contracts will be issued to the contractors before the end of the week.
The repairing of roads, while it's asphalt and marl and heavy equipment, is about people. It's about the fact that our people have challenges with the roads, challenges that have an economic impact on them, whether it be car tires, whether it be the fixing of their vehicles. We have to make every effort to give relief to our people.
Minister Morgan was addressing Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. The $2 billion emergency road work project brings the total provided under the Relief Emergency Assistance and Community Help REACH program to $5 billion. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz has expressed satisfaction with the positive public response to the launch of 2 new bus routes connecting St. Thomas to Kingston. The new routes, 701 and 702, began operations on December 9 and have since served over 5,000 commuters. During a tour of the region on Tuesday, Minister Vaz announced that discussions were underway to redesign the Church Street Transport Center in Morant Bay.
What is important is that the buses stop along the way. So it's not a straight from downtown to Yalas or to Morant Bay. They stop at all the necessary points where there is communities and potential traffic. So where we are today is at the transport center operated by the Municipal Corporation, looking at how we can now do some adjustments to the layout of this site to allow for the buses to be able to come in here and turn, and also to mark and signage for the other bus routes and taxi routes.
The minister says there are also plans to address transportation needs in Yalas.
I was a bit concerned that Yalas does not have a transport center, and it has quite a bit of public transportation in the township. MP Robertson has indicated that there's a possibility that there may be a site at the old market in Yalas, which he'll have discussions with the Minister of Local Government and the Municipal Corporation to see whether or not that could be actually used as a dual purpose, both as a market and transport center.
And finally, the procurement process is underway to engage the services of a consulting firm to design a museum at the old courthouse in Morant Bay, St. Thomas. Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Eastern, Dr. Michelle Charles, made the disclosure during her contribution to the 2024-2025 State of the Constituency debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. Dr. Charles informs that the international tendering process solicited bidders from Jamaica and overseas.
The tender process closed on November the 11th. A technical committee was formed to evaluate the bids. Is expected to complete the evaluation process by December 12, 2024.
Dr. Charles adds that the design component is expected to be completed by the end of the first quarter of fiscal year 2025-2026. Once the design is completed and approved, the project will advance to the second phase, which entails procuring construction management services.
The residents of St. Thomas Eastern know that the light is shining. They know that we are a government that they can depend on. And I say to the residents, through you, Madam Speaker, don't hide your light under a bushel. Hold it up and show the world that the light is shining.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
On Inflation Watch, the Bank of Jamaica breaks down the term annual inflation and tells us how it is measured.
Hello, I'm Anna. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Inflation Watch, where Bank of Jamaica highlights the main factors influencing price movements in Jamaica. Now, there's a term that I want you to pay attention to. It's headline or annual inflation. It's the general rate of increase in prices over a 12-month period as measured by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statit. Now, at September 2024, headline or annual inflation was 5.7%. Now, this is welcome news as it represents a return of inflation to Bank of Jamaica's target range of 4 to 6%. Great, remembered. At August, inflation had exceeded the target range largely as a result of the impact of Hurricane Beryl. Inflation in September 2024 was primarily driven by increased prices of certain food items, including fruits such as ripe bananas, papayas, pineapples, watermelons, and dried coconuts, as well as vegetables like sweet peppers, tomatoes, and cucumber. Starchy foods like yams and green bananas also cost more in September relative to last year. These price increases reflected the continued effects of Hurricane Beryl on agricultural food supply. Increased fares for route and hackney carriage taxes in October 2023 also continued to influence price increases in September 2024. In that month too, higher rental and water sewage rates also contributed to higher headline inflation. Now, it's important to note that inflation at September was lower than the 6.5% recorded at August 2024 and well below the peak of 11.8% recorded in April 2022. Remember that? This lower inflation at September relative to August reflected lower electricity rates, while the generally lower inflation at September compared to the peak in April 2022 and several months since then was supported by BOJ's monetary policy. On September 30, 2024, the bank announced the Monetary Policy Committee's decisions to do two things. Right, number one, to further reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points BPS to 6.5% per annum, effective October 1, 2024, while managing domestic liquidity accordingly. And number two, to continue to take measures to preserve relative stability in the foreign exchange market. The decision of the MPC to loosen monetary policy further was based on an improvement in the inflation outlook. So now that you're aware of the factors that influenced inflation outturn at September 2024, let's review some general information about inflation with my co-host, BJ.
Hi, BJ here. Let's recap some of what we talked about inflation so far. Bring you up to speed. When you hear Sheena, Anna, and other people talk about inflation, them talking about the general rate of change in the price of goods that we buy and services we use. Prices go up, sometime in a short space of time. It's not so bad when the increase is small and manageable, like what Bank of Jamaica working to achieve. Price increases between 4 and 6% over any 12-month period. We call that stable and predictable.
How them measure inflation?
For that, we look at the Consumer Price Index. Remember, that's like the basket of goods and services we buy. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, they look at over 10,000 prices every month to put together the CPI. It's about 330 goods and services in that basket, The items are put into 12 groups based on what people use them for. Each item in the basket is given a weight. The more you spend on an item, the larger its weight. So inflation is a measure of how your cost of living changes. How they collect those prices to measure inflation? Prices for things like petrol and farm produce are collected 2 times a month because of their sometimes unpredictable price changes. Other prices like school fees, they collect every 3 months. Prices for other goods and services are collected once a month in all 14 parishes where people do most of their shopping and spend money on services. Prices are checked for correctness before calculating the figures for inflation over a month or a year, and to see if prices and your cost of living move down or up. But me don't look too bad on TV. Send me your questions and let's keep talking about inflation later.
Thanks, BJ. And that's a wrap for Inflation Watch this month. Join us again next time when Bank of Jamaica will bring you another episode of Inflation Watch, where we track inflation and explore the factors influencing price changes in Jamaica. I'm Anna. Keep watching.
Let's head over now to St. Thomas as we show you developments that are taking place by the government to stimulate economic activities and employment.
People of St. Thomas, you are special, and the government acknowledges the sacrifice of your forefathers. St. Thomas is a place of great potential, and your government recognizes this, and we are doing everything possible to ensure that the true potential of this parish can be fulfilled. St. Thomas is really the pivotal parish in Jamaica's historical development, post-slavery. It is the Morant Bay Rebellion which really sparked a new interest from the colonial government in the administration of the affairs of Jamaica.
Over time, St. Thomas has garnered the unfortunate label as the forgotten one. But the government is looking to terminate that idea with a slew of developments on the way and still more planned. Road development is crucial to the economic growth of any nation. So when the government started the second leg of the South Coast Highway at the eastern end of the island, the development of St. Thomas was atop its mind. The 147 kilometers roadway spans Harbour View in St. Andrew all the way to Port Antonio, which means smooth sailing throughout the historic parish of St. Thomas. Here's Prime Minister Andrew Holness officially opening the 4-lane highway from Harbour View to Yallus Bridge in early 2024.
St. Thomas is witnessing a remarkable change in its infrastructure, particularly its roadways and public facilities. The Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project is a key catalyst for this transformation, connecting Harbour View in St. Andrew to Port Antonio in Portland. The highway is set to enhance the economic foundations of St. Thomas, offering numerous opportunities for its residents.
St. Thomas residents on a whole will be happy with the development taking place, but the people of the Roselle, Shady Spring and White Horses community will be most excited with the new seawall that is being built along a section of the main road in the parish. The old structure was damaged by a storm surge during Hurricane Beryl, and the government didn't hesitate to respond.
It totally destroyed the wall and came in onto the road. So this is not a defect of the contractor. This is something now that the government will have to pursue as supplementary work, meaning we will have to have an additional budget because of the hurricane to put in a seawall.
The corridor is included in roadworks being carried out in the parish as part of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. A landmark development in the parish is the Morant Bay Urban Centre, which is currently under construction. This 28-acre development will feature more than 50 public and private sector entities in one space. Among them, the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, 2 BPO facilities expected to employ approximately 3,000 individuals, a museum, financial and medical facilities, a daycare center, a brand new courthouse, a tax office, Registrar General's Department, passport office, and many more. The Morant Bay Urban Center is powering the development for the people of St. Thomas.
Many households are going to benefit from the economic and social opportunities that will be curated right here in this 28-acre development. We have a university here, we have training facilities here, we have joined up government here, we have food, recreation and commerce right here, we have light industry right here.
In October of 2022, the people of Yalis got a completely modern state-of-the-art fire station. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness officially opened the space, which is yet another part of the plans to modernize the parish.
This fire station is a representation of the government's strategic intent of focusing on the development of this parish.
Financed by the Government of Jamaica and the World Bank, it will benefit more than 95,000 residents across communities in St. Thomas. The Prime Minister promised that with the infrastructure being put in place, other investments in the parish would follow, like an explosion of housing developments such as the newly developed Sun Coast Beach Club homes in the Bull Bay area. The parish is also set to receive a new police station and benefit from an upgrade to the Princess Margaret Hospital.
In less than 5 years, this parish is going to see significant transformations. We need your support. We need you to support the government to continue the work that it is doing to build your economy and build your communities and build your household.
Up next, how the Jamaica AIDS Support for Life has been providing essential care for persons living with HIV and AIDS.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the show that gives you information on the latest topics. The first case of HIV/AIDS was reported in the U.S. in 1981, leading to an epidemic which calls for safer sex and education against discrimination. Today, the disease is no longer considered a death sentence, thanks to major progress in treatment options. But there is still work to be done, and the Jamaica AIDS Support for Life continues to aid those affected and educate the wider population. World AIDS Day serves as an important reminder that we must remain steadfast in our commitment to preventing new HIV infections and providing essential services to people living with the disease. Now, with us today is Monitoring and Evaluation Manager at Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, Xavier Biggs. Mr. Biggs, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start off with you telling us a bit about Jamaica AIDS Support for Life. The why. Let's start with the why.
So the Jamaica AIDS Support for Life is a non-government organization that got started back in 1991.
Right.
When HIV entered the Caribbean space in the 80s, we just knew that our friends and our family were dying from this strange, mysterious virus. Mm-hmm. And so as an organization, we were formed back in 1991 to develop a hospice first that was supposed to do final rites care for those we love.
Okay.
Fast forward to 2024. We are a comprehensive health and case management system that covers the entire continuum of care, starting with HIV education and prevention, through to diagnosis and treatment. And we also do programs in enabling environment and human rights. So we span that entire continuum, ensuring that wherever people are, they are able to access appropriate information for their needs, and we provide a solution to them.
Okay, so if I'm parsing this correctly, at start,
Yes.
it was a sort of end of the road
Yes.
sort of intervention, but now from day one to life,
Yes.
right? From day one to life, Jamaica Aid Support for Life is there to support those who are affected and also sensitizing.
Yes.
And I'd like to underline and dig in with the sensitizing bit. How do campaigns work and education in communities?
So HIV, a big part of the challenge we've found with HIV is that transmission occurs because people do not have adequate information. And so it was important to start there first.
Okay.
And so we have a package known as HIV 101 that focuses on HIV education and sensitization.
Right.
We do that in schools, communities, workspaces, wherever people will have us. And we start by having a conversation around safer sex practices and general things that can be done to protect yourself from contracting HIV.
Got you. And what's the reception like? What are we
Well,
seeing?
the reception varies because, people are at different stages. And for example, in the workspaces, some people might not in that moment want to have certain conversations because colleagues might be around, but in a one-on-one, they might respond differently.
Right.
But we've had major successes generally with these conversations because people either in these group settings respond well to the information, take our contact information and reach out to us post, or because of the consistent nature in which we've been able to do it over the last 30 plus years, we've built a reputation that people know that they can reach out to us and we will provide them with the information that they need.
Right. Consistency.
Yes.
Consistency is key, as well as knowledge is power.
It is.
We always hear those. Cliches are true still, So we see. Now, can you share a success story with us?
I mean, HIV, there are several success stories if you think about it in the grand scheme of things. One that comes to mind is an individual who found out through a random health screening process that they were HIV positive. The numbers that monitor their health outcome would suggest that they had advanced HIV.
Numbers being?
Meaning so there are a few numbers that are used to monitor HIV care, such as your CD4 or your viral load.
Oh, okay.
And those numbers would suggest at the time that the individual would be in an advanced stage of having HIV.
Right.
Fast forward to now, they are on treatment, they're healthy, perfectly normal, and we're talking 10, 12 years later. So there are several stories like that about HIV. And if you come into Jamaica Aid Support for Life, wherever you are on the continuum, be it just a novice that needs to get information, we'll give you some of that. If you're someone who, when tested, is found to be reactive to HIV, then we can add you on treatment immediately, and we support you through that entire process.
Right. Now, you said if we come in, we can find you guys online?
Yes, man. We're on all the social media spaces. So we're on Instagram at Jasso Info, we're on Twitter at Jasso Tweets, and we're on Facebook at Jamaica Aid Support for Life. But outside, and we're definitely on TikTok. I'll check you back for that one. But in these spaces, we offer offlining, where we start the conversation in our DMs, and then we can offline individuals to come in for physical services. We also have 3 locations across the island. We're at 3 Hendon Drive in Kingston, 14 King Street in St. Anne's Bay, and 16 East Street in Montego Bay.
Right.
But from these 3 locations, we provide services across the entire island.
Got it.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow and we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, gis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at gis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.